Alright, here it goes. This is my preliminary review of the live, MPC Live from Akai. Let's get started. I like the product. I definitely think it's worth the money. I do feel like it's expensive, but it is a lot of fun to play. It runs very solid, and I haven't had too many problems with it. As a kid, one of my first things that I used to do to make music was actually tape recorders, and actually had a Yamaha 510, PSR 510. That was my first ever music making equipment I ever had. And this was around the 1996-1997 era. And shortly thereafter, I was able to get another keyboard thanks to my parents at the time, who got me a Yamaha PSR 730, which was an amazing keyboard in itself. And one of the things I used to do with that was make music outside. I would plug in my keyboard into the wall, and I would go outside and sit on the porch, and I would play the keyboard and make beats as I look at the clouds and the trees go by. And now I'm going to be able to do that again because I have the MPC Live. This is a fully portable, full-fledged music production system. And you know, for a while, it took a while for me to get used to the fact that I'm actually doing everything inside one box. I spent so much time working with Maschine, Studio One, FL Studio, that I've kind of felt that dealing with buffer issues and driver issues and latency issues and all these things that comes with working with a computer, dealing with the operating system, dealing with the computer not quite working the way it should and having to reboot it again. You know, I dealt with that for a lot of years, and it felt like that was the way of the world. And then when I found out that Akai released the MPC Renaissance, I wasn't really too pleased with the commercial. And at that time, Native Instruments already killed the game with Maschine. And one of the things that attracted me to Maschine was that it was like an MPC. When I first laid hands on my first MPC, I noticed that, man, that thing's very fast. There's no latency. It's like playing an actual keyboard. And there's something to be said about dealing with hardware that is fully dedicated to one thing. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I have a very nice computer, and I'm very fortunate to have it. It has a lot of power in it, a lot of RAM in it. However, even with all that power, there still comes to issues of dealing with operating systems. There comes with issues that comes with dealing with Windows 10 and drivers and dealing with the buffer and stuff like that. And you know, you run enough instances of Omnisphere or Massive, you're going to have to turn that buffer down a little bit. But when you do that, you can't quite play as snappy as you do. And with this was never an issue. It does feel strange to feel like it's so responsive in the way that I hit the drums. And a lot of times when I try to bring my own samples and sound kits into it, it's giving me a totally new experience I haven't experienced in the past before, even though I have had Maschine for a long time and I love the platform. And you know, you can go back to many of my videos in the past and see all the gripes that I've had about working with Maschine, how I wanted them to implement stuff that I felt like they should have did before. And just to put a bullet point on that, I actually was an avid FL Studio user before I got into Maschine, which is about 2009, 2010. And when I got into Maschine, that was during the difference, or during the time when there was version 1.5 to 1.6. At that time was the first time they implemented plugins. Now remember, I came from FL Studio, real-time time stretching, VST plugins, sidechain. When I went to Maschine at that time, I actually still was able to work with plugins, but I lost the real-time time stretching and I lost sidechaining. And you know, I talked about this for a lot of years. And one of my kind of ongoing gripes with that is that when Native Instruments comes out with an update, it's kind of an update. It's cool, but it's not quite exactly what I was looking for, you know. And then right now they came out with the MK3, and they're coming out with the Jam, and I'm quite sure the MK3 is a fun product. I probably have a lot of fun with it. And the Jam I have personally, which was an awesome product as well, really fun. Definitely helps you bring a lot of functionality. But I guess my gripe with that was that, why wasn't that functionality already in the product that I paid all this money for? And now I'm buying another product, and now I'm buying another product. I feel like on this platform here is that when I finally buy this, I feel like I can buy something and feel confident that it'll last me for a while. The reason I know that is because there's still MPCs on the market today, and if they're so worthless, why are they so expensive used? The MPC 3000 is really expensive, and there's no new ones on the internet today. They're all used. If you look at the MPC 2000, those things are going for like 500, 600 bucks. And I'm trying to figure out, what's the fuss? What's the deal? I have all the sounds and all the samples and hard drive space and RAM and processor cores. What is it about the MPC? And then I started to kind of experiment with different things. I said, okay, let me try this out. And you know, I've tried to do mobile production in the past, and obviously one of the things about this is that it's mobile. You can charge this up and you get approximately 4 hours of charging, or 4 hours of playtime with that, which I think is pretty cool. And I can sit with this thing in the car seat and just be right there locked in and not worry about lugging a laptop and a controller and then figure out where do I put it. Do I put the laptop right there and I keep the controller in my lap when I'm in the car or when I'm out in the road or whatever like that? You know, it's a very challenging thing to work on that platform. iPads are cool, but sometimes my issue with the iPad is the touchscreen. Sometimes I don't want a flat surface to play on. Sometimes I want something tactical. So when I saw this product right here, I was like, we got kind of the portability of a laptop. We got a little bit of the power that could be kind of like the laptop, but now we have a tactical buttons we can hit. We have a touch screen giving us a big display. Most of the MPCs back in the day had a little readout and stuff like that, but that didn't stop a lot of producers. We got some knobs here, and it definitely provided an experience. And then again, dealing with the latency has always been a tug of war in making music on computers. You're always kind of doing the tug of war. Okay, do I get this buffer down? Do I gotta buy more hardware? Do I got the right software? I need this plugin. Whereas in this, there's no buffer to change on this. Once you hit a drum sound, it's on. And the only time if it's off is that maybe you got some dead air in the front of the sample. And the cool thing is that I can change that start time of the sample instantaneously on the go. And one of the things that I realized, because I was split between this and the MPC X, is that I thought to myself, well, you could either put an MPC X in front of me or MPC Live. I'm still going to make music the way that I do. And you know, and concordantly, since I use my go-to samples, it sounded like I had the same beats that I would in Maschine or FL Studio, because I have a certain style that I like to produce in. There's a certain sound set that I like to use. And moving forward with this has inspired me to hook up my synthesizers, my hardware synthesizers. These were the plugins before plugins were plugins. Hardware keyboards. This is how they used to do it back in the day. I personally never experienced that. One, I was too young. Two, definitely didn't have parents that were going to buy me that expensive equipment, even though I was good. Three, software was coming in full steam into the consciousness of making music. And so I kind of missed a certain era because of, I guess, my age and the access to expensive equipment. It just wasn't there at the time, you know. So now I finally have my first hardware drum machine, and I feel like every producer who is a hardcore music producer should have one in their collection, because it's fun to have, you know. There's so many different ways to make music, and you know, I used to be kind of the guy like, oh, I got this, so I'm dope. Oh, I got that. And some people ascribe to that school, and that's okay. Anything you put my hands on, I'm going to make great music with. I don't care if it's FL Studio, Maschine, Studio One, MPC, a Yamaha PSR 510, 530. I don't care, you know. But this has been a very refreshing experience. MIDIing the outputs of this to my synthesizers, hearing them lock up, everything be super tight, super accurate, hearing the LFOs line up with the hi-hats, touching the screen, learning how to arrange songs and stuff like that, and developing the muscle memory. Now, when I first got on this platform, it was really frustrating because I did not know where everything was at. I didn't have a muscle memory down for this. There's a certain muscle memory that you develop when you start working on this, and this provides that, because one, where everything's at, it's not going to change. And, you know, sometimes in software, if you got to change, it messes up your whole muscle memory. Now you have to relearn the thing. But I feel like this product is something that Akai is going to stick with for a while. It's hardware, and I'm very excited what can come in the future. It definitely feels like I bought something that I feel like they will support. You know, my whole gripe with Maschine is that I want them to make the software better, but they keep coming out with more hardware. And you know, it's their call, and it's a lot of great people there, but it still leads me to want to experiment with other things, which kind of leads me to this. I was able to take this to a gig, and it ran like a champ. It samples like a champ. I'm taking my cell phone sampling. I'm going to buy a record player just to experiment the process of sampling into something hardware, right? So it's a lot of fun. Long story short, if you're interested in buying one, I would recommend buying one if you got the funds for it. It's definitely not a toy. It feels like a very serious piece of music equipment that I feel like will keep up with my needs. And I'm very excited to see how this works in the studio and out on the road, because it's built for both. And I got a hard case coming to protect it, and I'm very excited. I love making beats and just taking it to my buddy's house and continue to make it and sample from something he has over there, and then come back and it's all in one place, and it's strangely very pleasing. And it's like, wow, really, I didn't know I was missing this, you know. So this is just a preliminary thing. I'm quite sure once I really get into this thing, I'll really get into that. I'll probably tear it apart like I tear everything else apart, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see how far I can push it before I break it. You know, that's kind of the journey, that's kind of the challenge. All right, well, I'm done. The video's over 10 minutes. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check the comments, or hit me in a comment. If you got questions about this, let me know. I'd love to respond to them in the comments or in another video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm back on YouTube. I just been working on the album, finishing up. Magic Box is coming soon. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take care. Peace.